the scenario and there's a big void there, and you come in and you try your hardest to fill that void. So from a management perspective, you have to weigh. You want to lead right away, but you also need to take into account that there are certain psychological issues at hand here that you need to take into account. And so, when I came in, Major Quinn did it right. I'd say the first 2 weeks I was really just observing things, and I wasn't really, I was sticking my head, poking my head in, but I wasn't changing things. I was, hey, what's going on here? Why don't you tell me about this? And I spent the majority of the time getting to know the Marines, trying to understand what they were doing, and then just learning how Lima rolled SOPs and all that.
How did Major Quinn influence that? Did he just tell you that?
Well, I dictated it, frankly. He said, I was attached to Major Quinn. I wasn't even with the platoon yet, so I'd go off and do my own thing. But frankly, I had no operational control over that platoon. I didn't take him out. I didn't do anything like that. So, they still operated, but they were sidelined a little bit to kind of recap. And by the time I took over, the last thing they want to see is hesitancy. So you certainly don't pussyfoot around it. You don't say, hey, I'm sorry this happened. You just go in, and at that point, after 2 weeks, they know who you are, and there was no monumental speech or anything like that. It was business as usual.
You called a AMOR. Can you give us some details around the relationship with?
You're talking about AMOR the target?
Right. Major Quinn talked about it this morning. You said you had some pretty good.
Yeah. I was running operations in War District, right the blue line, the light blue line on the north.
Indicated with
yeah, sure. Right. I was running snap VCs literally in this area right here. And what I saw was a large congregation of men stuck together. I had a squad of Iraqi army with me, and I had a section of my mobile platoon with me.
And what date was that?
What's that?
What date?
This must have been December, January. So December 05, January 06. Sorry, I don't have a hard date on that. It's probably somewhere in some chronology, but and what happens? We saw a large group of men, and I wanted to poke around a little bit, so we snapped it up and said, what is going on here? And obviously, at this point, they all come to us and say, hey, one of them steps forward and says, hey, my son was kidnapped literally 20 minutes ago. Okay, not what I was expecting. So we quickly reorganize here, and we start tactically questioning these guys. All right, what happened? How many guys came? What did they look like? And what boiled out of this was, I know where these guys live. Okay, so we brought the gentleman, we dispersed the crowd, brought the gentleman back to his house, and we head out, and we got this guy to agree to where he would walk down and show us the house. And what was going on is that this gentleman was actually working with coalition forces. He was a contractor of some sort. He had letters from coalition, so he
what was his name?
I don't remember the gent's name. He was an older gentleman now. His son was about 14 to 16 years old. And what I remember most about that day, I'd say this is the biggest change for me between 3rd and 4th, or when I realized things needed to change, and they needed to change now. Unfortunately, it took too long. But I remember sitting down and looking across the room of the living room, and I saw the mother crying. And I just remember thinking in my head, there's no difference. If this happened in the U.S., if it happened anywhere in the world, the mother cries. There's no difference. I think naturally when you go over there as warfighters, you want to create differences between you and what you perceive to be the enemy. Every conflict has had that's been just used by, I won't go into names, but they create names for what they perceive the enemy to be. And it's just a way to kind of desensitize yourself to what you see. Well, this crossed that line. This was a transcendent line to say, and these people are exactly the same. So I got pretty pissed off at this point, and I made a point to try to get this kid back. So with Iraqis there, and using Arabic through the translator and all that, we launched a joint raid with Iraqi squad.
So just to before we go on to that, you said this was the biggest change you saw between third and fourth. It sounds like that's on a kind of a personal, emotional level.
Yeah, it was on a personal, emotional level, absolutely, because before that it was, I wasn't thinking about the connection to the people. I mean, you heard the jazz, we're here to help out the Iraqi people, and you do, but you never felt thanks for it, and you never felt the connection, or at least I did. I didn't see the immediate connection between me and them. And during that specific day, before that raid came, that was the first human connection I had to the Iraqi people, where I'm the protector of these people. They required my assistance, and they came to me, and they expected my help. And so, as a human, as a Marine, you're going to do everything possible to help that person out. So we launched a raid, and it was a pretty impressive raid. I mean, it was it's the first time we used flashbangs, because flashbangs are completely unnecessary, except in this case where we thought there's going to be a hostage inside. It was a hostage rescue raid. We had no idea if they were prepared. We had no idea if we were going to have to throw rounds downrange, and we needed some sort of diversion to get in and at least give us 5 seconds to distinguish who is friendly and who is not here.
So can you give us the date and location of that raid?
I don't have the date. It was the same date this happened. It was all, what started out as 1 hour of snap VCPs turned into an 8-hour raid between planning and everything, and we never went back to the firm base. We launched it right out, and I was the senior man for that. And the location is literally right across from our base, almost right there.
Okay.
And the guy's house, is somewhere located in this general vicinity down here, so it's only a few hundred meters. So we drive, and we actually walk down. We had the trucks, and we were, it's a compound, and the gate's locked. And we got in, jumping over walls and all that. And so there were 2 different buildings, 3 entrances, and so we covered all the entrances, and we're using Iraqi Army for this, and this was a big step forward. I mean, this is a QRF mission with Iraqis, so it was pretty substantial, and I must say they performed very well, which was happy for me, because we all worked a lot with them. And 3, 2, 1 over a comm, the trucks blasted the brake through the gate. We're already, doors are kicked open, flashbangs are in, and it was textbook raid. I mean, it was a nice raid. We go inside. We quickly detained, I want to say 2 or 3 males, and the boy was not there. The boy was not there at the time. So there 2 to 3 males, and we found out one was the brother and the other one was a cousin. Or maybe 2 cousins, I don't remember, but one was definitely the brother. And we detained them, and through tactical questioning, we had HAT with us, and they interrogated. And we determined that, yes, they did kidnap this boy, and they were involved with it, and they were going to ransom him, and they were going to either kill him or they were going to get the money and feed that to the insurgency.